All right, let's talk about crypto. It can feel like this huge, confusing world, right? Well, today we're going to demystify it. By the time we're done here, you'll have a real framework to go from just, hoping for the best to actually acting like a strategic investor. So let's dive right in. So, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Is crypto just high-tech gambling? I mean, you see these wild price swings, you hear the stories of people becoming millionaires overnight, and yeah, it's really easy to see it as just a digital casino. But what if there's a method to all that madness? What if, with the right mindset, you could navigate this crazy space not like a gambler, but like a strategist? Okay, so here's our game plan to get you there. First, we're going to look at the history of money to really get the why behind crypto. Then we'll unpack blockchain. That's the how. From there, we'll talk about that huge mindset shift from gambler to investor, show you how to build your own fund, check out some key strategies, and finally, super important, we'll cover how to handle the risks. All right, first things first. To really get a handle on crypto, we actually need to zoom way out and look at the history of money itself. You're about to see that crypto isn't just some random thing that popped up out of nowhere. It's kind of the next logical step in a really, really long story. Just look at this progression, right? We started with bartering. I'll trade you 3 chickens for that pot. Super inefficient. So we moved to things like gold, something everyone agreed had value. Then came government money, like the dollar, which is great, but it's all controlled by a central authority. Digital payments made things even quicker, and now we have crypto. The whole point is to try and give that control back to the users. See? Every single step here was an innovation, trying to solve a problem with the one before it. Okay, so if crypto is the car, then blockchain is the engine that makes the whole thing go. And trust me, understanding at least the basics of how this engine works is absolutely crucial if you want to be a smart investor. Now, the core idea here sounds way more complicated than it is. Just imagine a shared Google Doc that keeps a running list of every single transaction. Everybody has a copy, and everyone can see when a new line is added. But here's the magic trick. Once something is added to that list, it is locked in forever. It can never be changed or deleted by anyone. And that's what makes it so transparent and so incredibly secure. That right there is the power of blockchain. And this brings us to what might be the most important point of this whole thing. If you don't actually understand the technology you're putting your money into, you're not really investing. You're just speculating. You're basically just betting that the price will go up without knowing why it should. And that, my friends, is the single biggest difference between a gambler and an investor in this space. That distinction is the perfect way to jump into our next section, making that all-important mental shift from gambler to investor. So let's really break down these two characters. Over on the left, you've got the gambler. This person is glued to their phone, totally driven by social media hype and that fear of missing out. Every decision is emotional, panic selling, FOMO buying. Now, look at the investor on the right. Totally different vibe. They're calm, they've done their homework, they have a plan. The whole goal here is to leave that gambler mindset behind and become the investor. Of course, we have to talk about volatility, the massive price swings. They can be downright terrifying, right? But here's that mindset shift in action. The exact same wild movement that creates all that risk, it's also what creates the opportunity. A real investor doesn't panic when the market dips. They might even see it as a chance to buy because they understand that in this market, volatility isn't a bug, it's a feature. Okay, so now that we've got the right mindset, let's get practical. Let's talk action. We're going to stop thinking about just buying a few random coins here and there and start thinking like a real portfolio manager by building your own personal crypto fund. And honestly, the process is way simpler than it sounds. It really just comes down to 3 key steps. Step 1, define your goals. Why are you even doing this? What do you want to achieve? Step 2, figure out your risk tolerance. How much are you actually okay with potentially losing? Be honest with yourself. And then step 3, based on those 2 answers, you decide how to allocate your money across different crypto assets. This little table breaks down 3 common approaches. You could go conservative, which mostly means sticking to the big established players like Bitcoin. Or you could try a balanced portfolio, which is a mix of those stable ones and some newer projects with more growth potential. And then there's speculative, where you're taking on more risk with brand new assets, hoping for much higher rewards. There's no single right answer here. The best choice for you depends completely on the goals and the risk level you just figured out for yourself. All right, so you've built your fund. Awesome. Now what? Well, now you need a strategy to manage it. This is your playbook. You've really got 2 classic ways to go here. Think of it like the tortoise and the hare. Buy and hold is the tortoise. It's slow and steady. You pick projects you believe in for the long run, and you just hold on. Active trading is the hare. It's way more fast-paced, making frequent moves to try and profit from those short-term price swings. But here's the key. A lot of smart investors actually do a little bit of both. And this is where things get really, really cool. You don't just have to sit around and wait for prices to go up. You can actually make your crypto work for you. Through things like staking, you can earn rewards, almost like earning interest in a savings account, just for holding your assets and helping support the network. This means your portfolio can actually generate passive income, which is, that's a game changer for any investor. Okay, we've talked a lot about the upside, the opportunities, but a real strategist, a true strategist, knows the risks just as well as the rewards. So let's be real and talk about how to navigate the dangers. And make no mistake, the risks are very, very real. You've got to be aware of the extreme volatility we've talked about. You have to know that government regulations are still a huge question mark. You need to accept that a lot of these projects are just going to fail. And you have to be vigilant about security threats like hacks and scams. A strategist doesn't stick their head in the sand. They see these risks and they plan for them.